What's up guys, this is Nazar Al-Wattar with you from A to Z for Learning channel with a new lesson about the most beautiful programming language, the C#. Today we will discuss the symbol type in the C#. Symbol types in the C# include the numbers and the booleans and some specific symbol types. These types is the fundamental types that uses to build the programming blocks in the C#. As we know and as we have discussed earlier in the previous lessons, C# program consists of some of blocks, and these blocks consist of these types. So we will use these types so as to build our programming code or our programming blocks in the C#. Simple types, unlike the complex type, it doesn't have children or properties, and most of these types are numeric types, and it uses to save numeric values or data. Some of you will ask me why there are many types of variables or types in the C#. Why Microsoft didn't make all types as one single types so as to save different types of data. This is incorrect because we will need different types and different number of bits or locations in the memory so as to store your data. For example, as we can see here in this picture, the number of bits that we will use to store the number 9 is different from the number of bits that we will use to store a number like 100 consists of 3 digits, or a number of 1000 consists of 4 number of digits, and so on. Also, if we wanted to store a text data, this type will use different types of bits in the memory locations, which is different from the number of bits that we are going to use in the memory so as to store number like 9 or 100 and so on. The number representation in the memory locations will be represented by using zeros and ones, and we will use the binary system so as to store these numbers. So we will need different types of variables so as to store our data. For example, variable that can store an integer number. This variable, the capacity of this variable is different from the capacity of the variables that has the ability to store a float value or a double value and so on. So we need to understand these differences so as to avoid making mistakes or errors in the coding. So the number that will need n bits so as to be represented in the memory location, and the variable that has the ability to store n of bits, this variable has the ability to deal with number between 0 to exponential n minus 1. So please save this equation so as to avoid making mistake when you want to represent a number. Now we need to know what is the capacity of our variable, but before that we need to understand how many bits our number needs to be represented so as to pick the right and the proper choice of the variables. As we said, the variable that has the ability to store n of bits, this kind of variable has the ability to store number falls between 0 to 2 exponential n minus 1. For example, if we have number between 0 to 3, we will use this table. We will need variable that has the ability to store 2 of bits. So this is the bit number 1, this is the bit number 2. and this is the number or the result that can represent it using these 2 bits. So for example, if we have the value 0 in the bit number 1, and if we have 0 in the value in the bit number 2, we can represent the number 0. If we have 0 in the bit number 1, and we have 1 in the bit number 2, we can represent the number 1, and so on, as we can see here in the table. So for example, if we have number consists of 3 of bits, so we will need a variable that has the ability to store this number of bits, and we will use variable that has the ability to store between 0 to 2 exponential n minus 1. For example, if we have number like 6, this number will be represented by 3 of bits. Then we need a variable that has the ability to store 3 of bits. If we have a variable that has the ability to store 4 of bits, which is the n of bits, which is the n number. So this kind of variable that has the ability to hold a number falls between 0 to 15, because 2 exponential n, which is 4, it will be 16, minus 1, it will be 15. So the number will be between 0 to 15, and so on. So now we understood how the numbers and the text represented in the memory location using bits, and we need to understand how many bits we will use to represent our number or our text, and we need to understand and we need to choose the proper choice of variables that has the ability to deal or to handle this number of bits. So at the end of this lesson, the question is how many number of bits we will use to represent the number 1 million, which has 6 zeros and number 1 at the beginning. Please put your answer under this video, and I am waiting for your comments, your likes, and share this video if you like this video, and subscribe so as to get more videos about programming language C# and other technologies through A to Z for Learning channel. This is Nazar Al-Wattar, and see you guys in the next lesson.